All right, free radicals of all shapes, sizes, colors, denominations, orientations, educations, and even party affiliations. Welcome back to my little upstart channel, the little channel that thought it could. My name is Dave, and this is The Radical Independent. I know I'm just a very small little fish in a big pond of other far more important commentators, but here I am. This weekend, we continue to see that all forms of media have decided again that they want to dump on Tulsi Gabbard. SNL, which has become another place, kind of like the Colbert Show, Jimmy Kimmel, all these people who go on the air every night and just go after Trump because Orange Man is bad. And you know, I've noticed during this skit that they did, once they have the Baldwin character come out and start doing Trump, the whole skit went downhill. I didn't mind them actually mocking Tulsi here, but the fact that The Hill would turn this into a headline shows you how perverted and bent out of shape things have gotten. SNL mocks Tulsi Gabbard after present vote. Democrats, I'll get you, my party, and your little mayor, too. They made fun of everybody on this skit. Little Mayor Pete, I've been saying that would be Donald Trump's go-to, I think, if Pete Buttigieg ever got to the nomination. It'd be Little Mayor Pete, because he looks like he just got out of high school, and he seems very tightly wound, and he is a corporate Democrat and maybe even a blue blood Republican style candidate. Maybe. I don't know. But the fact that SNL goes out of their way to do this, but more importantly, what they did in this headline is just that. SNL poked fun at, and here they say poked fun. Notice the change in headline. Mocking here, poking fun here. Well, why wouldn't you say poked fun in the headline? See, this is what the media does this subtle, and people see this stuff. People are awake to it. They look at it and they go, well, they poked fun at her. And they actually excoriated, like, the Kamala Harris character, who is hysterical doing Kamala Harris. I don't understand some of the stuff that they have her doing, the wind blowing in her hair. It's weird, but it's SNL. And by the way, this was the triumphant return of Eddie Murphy after like 35 years being away from SNL. And as a side note, a lot of his more famous sketches were adapted for the year 2019, which to me is so disappointing. All the stuff I grew up with, the stuff that you could say, the people you could mock, why are we morally superior now because we don't want to make fun of anybody? Because we used to be able to laugh and joke and poke fun at one another, and now we can't do it. Because we are all too offended. We're all triggered, we're all upset. And it gets, after a while, it takes the funniness out of everything. It just makes it unfunny. I'll tell you, the part of this sketch here where, what is it? I forget which, is it Stephen Baldwin? I don't know. One of the Baldwins who's been playing Trump forever. And by the way, typically the most unfunny part of the show. This character, because it's more concerned about just, I don't know, you could portray Trump and make it funny and make it accessible for everybody to watch it, because there are Trump people out there. But if I'm a Trump supporter, I'm certainly never going to watch this show. And I do have some sympathy for Trump supporters at this point, not because their guy is, he's not purer than the driven snow or anything, but it's looking as though this is a big coup attempt on his presidency, is the best way to look at it. And you're going to drive a lot of people back to Trump. Jimmy Dore said this. There have been other people that have been predicting this for quite some time, that all of these Democrats and the media assisting them are making people just angry for no reason when they would listen to you on ideas, but it's like you keep rattling the hornet's nest, you keep poking it with a stick, and after a while, people can only take so much. They're like, you know what, I was thinking about voting for a Democrat because I think Trump might be an embarrassment to the country, but he's no more embarrassing than this, the impeachment charade. Anyway, they go on here to talk about this. At one point in the mock debate, Jason, whoever, portraying former Vice President Joe Biden, randomly said, "Look, I don't know what's going on, but I just want to say I love the ladies, even those tough broads. I have the utmost respect for Lizzie Wu over here and Senator Kombucha over there. I do." So, if you read the whole context of this, they just scorched everybody. Cecily Strong made an appearance reprising her role as Gabbard. As lights flashed on the stage and menacing music played, Gabbard's character entered saying, "Speaking of hurting our cause." Can you imagine? I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, the war veteran, and it just to portray her negatively like that and say, hurting our cause. Well, here's the thing. The Democrats have hurt their own cause for decades, really, since the Clinton era. And again, they go on here to talk about what she did in a statement defending the unexpected move. Gabbard said she was standing in the center with her vote. "I could not in good conscience vote against impeachment because I believe President Trump is guilty of wrongdoing." Gabbard continued. She introduced a measure censuring Trump instead. So I could not in good conscience vote against impeachment. So she was basically saying, I didn't necessarily vote against it. I didn't vote for it. I didn't vote against it. Oh no, you're a coward. Tulsi Coward starts to hashtag on Twitter. Do you get the feeling that the whole thing is rigged in a way that you have no control over? Because I do. Over the weekend on Twitter, I came out of the closet and said, this is a no-win situation for anybody. You cannot win in this party. I've been saying it forever and ever. And it's a fact, and it's an immovable object that Tulsi supporters have to understand. And rather than the glib kind of understanding where, oh, but we can reform the party. Oh, we can push through. Oh, she's going to miraculous. No, I don't think that's going to happen. It's late December. I'm allowed to start speculating about this. I'm allowed not to be just so enraptured with really the greatest candidate I've seen in decades. Somebody who could bring the country together. The country doesn't want to be brought together. The SNL sketch proves it. The way they've changed comedy in general proves it. Every day we can't just be ourselves. We have to walk on eggshells. We don't want to offend anybody. I'm interested in platforms that talk about income equality and wages that go up to match the cost of living. I'm totally into issues. You want to talk to me about issues? Great. You want to talk to me about politically correct nonsense, which this is, day after day, this is all we hear. Identity politics. They completely have ignored all of this intersectionality that they're always foisting upon everybody to embrace. Tulsi Gabbard fits on so many levels, and she is such an interesting and diverse candidate, and speaks her mind and is genuine. And, one of the things supposedly they liked about Barack Obama when he ran for president was he was authentic. He seemed authentic, but he seemed like he had authority. Tulsi Gabbard brings a lot of those same qualities with even a much higher degree of authenticity. So those are my observations. But here's again, my last video, I really hammered this home. I said, you can love Tulsi Gabbard as much as you want. It's not going to change the Democratic Party. You can believe the injustices need to be rectified and you cannot reform this beast. You can't reform the Republican Party. The Republican Party causes people who have conservative values to actually vote against their own economic issues. And the Democratic Party ignores everybody with conservative values because they just think they're racists and bigots and all these things, and they just have dismissed them outright. And they've also dismissed the working class, who don't line up with their sort of nuanced view of the world, their new politically, I don't want to keep using politically correct, but that's what it is. I mean, I always cite the truck driver in whatever part of the country driving around thinking to himself, who can I vote for? I mean, I need to keep more of my take-home pay. I need to be able to afford the cost of living. The things that truck drivers care about, or, teachers. Who are teachers going to vote for? Teachers can't vote Republican because they screw around with education all the time. And teachers, if they vote Democrat, they're going to get a ton of lip service about how they're loved and respected. But nobody's going to fight for better wages for teachers. I mean, it's the hedge fund managers that are benefiting in every single economy in the last 50 years. So I don't know who their constituency. The Meritocracy, if you read Listen Liberal by Thomas Frank, you'll understand that this party abandoned working class voters, and they've added insult to injury because they make fun of their values on top of it. So what happens is their values get impugned, and then guess what they do? They go vote for Donald Trump. Because Trump says, no, I like you guys. I like your values. And even though Trump isn't going to help them, by the way, Obama kind of did the same thing in reverse. He didn't help him. And obviously George W. Bush played that up, said, yeah, I'm for your values, and I need your sons and daughters to fight illegal wars. Because that's what he did. And then other presidents have followed suit and just kept the policies in place. Tulsi Gabbard comes along and says, no more wars, and people flip out. People on the left flip out at Tulsi Gabbard for not wanting more wars. Can you imagine that? In the year 2019, you want to talk about a reversal? I mean, that is just breathtaking, and there's nowhere you can go. There's Tulsi Gabbard, there's Ron Paul, there's Rand Paul, there's Justin Amash. There's 4 people I know of who are elected. Well, Ron Paul is not, he was. And then you've got alternative parties, Green Party, Libertarian Party, who will likely put up candidates that nobody wants to vote for. And you need a cult of personality over there. What I mean is you need somebody who has gravitas, has a personality, can communicate, can rattle the cages and get people interested, especially now that we're seeing a repeat of 2016. And the problem is people keep saying, well, we need to wait, because we need to see who votes where. I mean, everyone's expecting Tulsi Gabbard to finish like 3rd in Iowa or 2nd in New Hampshire or something like that. I just don't think it can happen. There's too much money in politics, number one, for that to happen. And she could do way better, and then she probably will outperform what the polls are saying, because the polls are just skewed for all the establishment candidates. We know that. It's been documented. But let's not underestimate, like, the Joe Bidens of the world. You make fun of him all you want and say he's this, he's that, he's senile, he can't put together a sentence, but guess what? He's probably leading nationally. And Bernie, I tell you what, they will do everything, and they've already said they'll do everything to stop Bernie. Why are we even having this discussion anymore? We need to start building another movement. We need to start attracting somebody who has a great resume, who loves the country, who understands that the point of politics is service, okay? And the next point after that is to bring people together. Service and bring people together. And issues. Have a core group of issues. Maybe focus just on a handful, 2 or 3. Don't go too ambitious, because the more you try to heap on, the more ammunition you're going to get from the right. But I would say do 2 or 3 things really well and talk about them consistently and just pound it into the ground and talk how Bernie Sanders does a good job at this. But I don't think he's going to be able to win in the system that he's running in, just as Tulsi Gabbard is facing the same problem with lower poll numbers. And that's why people need to get serious about life. If life is giving you lemons, yeah, you can make lemonade, right? But in this case, life is putting up detours, roadblocks, pipe bombs. I mean, it's bad. And even a little article like this, which is basically media propaganda to make it look like, oh, SNL they really hammered Tulsi Gabbard last night. They didn't hammer anyone else. No, they were worse to other candidates up there. They were worse. So in any event, I keep telling the folks that watch this channel, and my videos probably are not going to be watched as much because I'm going to really have to pivot to reality. When Chelsea says or does something great, I'll be here to tell you about it. And that's not the problem, her saying something great or doing something great. The problem is nobody wants to hear it. If it's a blackout and she's being blocked, that's where the problem is. If your drain is clogged, you don't focus on pouring more water into the drain. You try to unblock the drain. And until we unblock the drain, which is the DNC and the whole system, Tulsi Gabbard ain't going to get through. And any other candidate that wants to take on this monstrous duopoly, which is all corporate controlled, corporate bought and sold. DNC debates are sponsored mostly by like big pharma companies and all of the so-called people that many more sort of left of center, real issue people are concerned about. They're going to turn on the debate and they're going to watch it, and it's sponsored by Pfizer, and people are going to go, oh, Pfizer, really? Or whoever. I'm just making up companies here, but the point being is that we all have to understand that until that changes, until the debates are brought to a public forum and they're sponsored by, say, the League of Women Voters again, or something similar to that, they go on the public airwaves and there's literally no advertisements. Even if we had to all chip in $1 to just pay for the cost of running the debate or something like that, I'm sure you can get some Americans to contribute more than enough money to sponsor a debate on social media or on some neutral platform, and you would have real question and answers. People talk about Joe Rogan and various people in media who would just ask very fair and balanced questions. Sorry to use the Fox News thing, but that's what you need, not this. And then you've got, all this other stuff going on where the candidate has to appeal to the entertainment industry and like go on these shows and pretend and yuck it up with some late night host who wants ratings and just wants fame and doesn't really care about the country because they're all set. So this is how it all works, folks. And I wish I had better news. And it's the holiday season. I wish we could talk, happy thoughts, but this was just a little tiny piece of a skit. If you go back and watch this skit, the Tulsi Gabbard character, the present thing where she says present, that's supposed to be funny and it's supposed to be a dig. Who cares? Who cares? She did what was right. She did, and even if you don't agree with her, she did what was right in her mind. Okay, this wasn't a vote that she took lightly. She did what was right in her mind. This was the ultimate protest vote, actually, because she didn't want to play the game of the left or the right. So that's the way I see it. You may see it differently. I want to thank everybody for watching this channel this year. I don't know how many videos I'm going to be doing moving forward for the rest of the year. We'll play it by ear. But I'm hoping that I can do maybe one a day here on YouTube. So if you're feeling generous and in the holiday spirit, I need your support right to the end. I want to thank the people that have given one-time donations via PayPal. That's the best way to do it. I will include my email for PayPal in the description box of this video. And until we meet again, aloha, and have yourself a great day and a great holiday if I don't talk to you then or before then. All right, see you soon.